Okay, July 29th, 2019, George Webb in undisclosed location on the Potomac River. Not far from here is where Dahlgren base in Virginia does their naval testing, firing, just up this way, And I've talked to a lot of folks who watch the actual projectiles come in here. We're now fire also from Indian Head Naval Testing Range. So again, it makes for a good place to interview people who are involved in weapons and the background of national security and so forth. Today on McDuff at 10 o'clock, we're going to be talking about one of those professionals named Bryan McCauley. Bryan McCauley, again, if you don't remember, testifies at the Flynn Intel Group trial last week. We're going to talk about that again with McDuff. And again, he's the person classifying and reclassifying emails for Hillary to keep her out of jail. Now, if you're Bob Mueller and you're on the national security team through Andy McCabe and a guy named Laufman and a guy named John Carlin, and you wanted to do a classification, a declassification, and reclassification to keep Hillary out of jail, would you call in an FBI agent that's never seen the server before? Would you call in an FBI agent that doesn't know who Justin Cooper is configuring Hillary's Windows server? Would you call in Brian Pagliano, the person who configured the server on an Apple server? Would you call in some FBI agent that's never seen any of the emails and doesn't know that that's Project Confidence, that you're doing confidence, basically offering these lures and various dangles to different politicians, either in New York before Hillary comes to Washington, D.C., or after she comes to Washington, D.C. Again, remember Andrew McCabe, up there in Chappaqua, comes down with Hillary to Washington, D.C. So is that really what's happening? Well, if you follow the metadata of Andy McCabe's moves, it certainly is. And then if you just ask yourself, who would the FBI bring in? It would be the person running that operation. The same person who's running the Operation Confidence for Trump, same person hiring the behavioral psychologist, the same person doing a, under the radar interview with Rudy Bakhtiar of CNN, over at an undisclosed location at the DuPont Hotel. The same group who was trying to cover up all their machinations for their Ex-Im bank loans for their pay-to-play during the Iraq occupation and their little private joint ventures with technology, defense technology, strategic technology in Afghanistan. These same people, Palantir, we can go through the list. The person you would bring in would be Bryan McCauley. And you say, George, well, why did they bring in Bryan McCauley last week at the Flynn trial? If a judge designates a certain individual, a certain national security individual as fundamental to the national security, he can seal all the evidence. Meaning he can not only seal the Trump evidence, not only seal the Project Confidence evidence at Trump, but he can also go all the way back to Hillary's email server. And remember, the Project Confidence in the House of Representatives, it's going to be a similar one in the Senate, is going to be the Awans servers. There's a lot of talk right now with Q saying, oh, we have the servers, Payne. I never said they didn't have the servers. If you read Luke Rosiak's book, they even say the Capitol Police has the servers. That's completely consistent with what Taggart said. Taggart said NCIS came out, FBI came out, and then Capitol Police came out. And then if you read his book, that server is in the Capitol Police cage. I'm not doubting that. What I always said was it was the hard drives and the DNC Blackberries. We know Aaron Zebley. Now you've seen his face testifying with Mueller. We now know Aaron Zebley is the person who was in charge of the disposal of those Blackberries. I believe the drives still exist. Maybe they don't, but they needed to be sealed. They needed a judge to seal those. And that's why Bryan McCauley was there. So I'm not only saying that the person who was doing Operation Confidence in New York with Hillary Clinton when she was in the run-up to her being senator, and then when she came to D.C., I'm not only saying that person using the Russian girls, Jeff Epstein's Russian girls, I'm not only saying that server was in charge of Bryan McCauley. Again, he's doing the classifying and the reclassifying. He's doing the classifying and reclassifying, right? But I'm also saying he was in charge of the Awans server. And the person that went out to Imran Awan's house was Bryan McCauley. The other person who testified is a Marine. Again, remember Taggart's a Marine. He's down there at Parris Island, a guy named McCauley. And he tries to shield the fact that he's down at Parris Island. Why? Because as these folks come back through getting processed out of the Marines, that's a perfect time to recruit for CIA. Perfect time to recruit for CIA. or NCIS, which is sort of a cover for CIA. The time I believe, or the person I believe that comes out from NCIS to the Awans house is going to be McCauley. It's going to be McCauley and McCauley. McCauley and McCauley are going to be the two Micks again in our story. And then the third one is going to be probably Cardenas or somebody like that from the Capitol Police. Again, I don't doubt the story Luke puts out that says the server is in the evidence cage at Capitol Police. I never doubted it at all. Not undermining Luke's reporting on that at all. I'm just saying the hard drives. I'm talking about the hard drives that Taggart said the FBI came out, NCIS came out. Would it be the person who recruited Andre Taggart? Wouldn't that be the logical person to come out if the operation is blown? Wouldn't that be the obvious person to come out? If they were running Operation Confidence on Capitol Hill, wouldn't the obvious person to come out and get those hard drives be Bryan McCauley? I think so. I think you're going to find it's McCauley and McCauley. Those are the two people that Taggart said came out. We'll discuss all this. We'll discuss all this at 10. Join me at 10. Just Google MacDuff and Kennedy. Kennedy's man to smash the CIA into 1,000 pieces. We'll see you soon. We'll see you at 10.